it is your trade bro back again, another video. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope the market's treating you well. Let's get right into it. We got some big news today. First thing we can see, starting off on the chart, Bitcoin popped above 35,000 very briefly. Got a very weird wick this morning. If you pop down to, let's go to the 30-minute chart, we can see that we popped up with a huge green candle at 8:30, 9 o'clock, hit that top there, then absolutely went back down, probably building out levels right now. But we had a big movement in the Bitcoin price. I think that's why so many people are hyped up today, but we're going to get into it. We're going to dissect it. So mainly what people are looking at today is another company got their ETF listed on the DTCC website. Again, when this happened with BlackRock, we had a huge surge, and then it got taken down. I don't think this one's getting taken down, and this is consistent with the narrative that the SEC is not going to give BlackRock first mover advantage, just to stay clear of any sort of kind of accusations of favoritism. So what they're probably going to do is let a multitude of Bitcoin ETFs go through. Now what this means for the Bitcoin price is absolutely massive. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen the articles in the past couple weeks that 92% of the current available Bitcoin is held by people with over 100 Bitcoin, or yeah, I think over 100 Bitcoin. I could be wrong on that, but basically 92% of the current supply is held away, and that's before this frenzy goes through. And if you guys are wondering, well, you know, what's the real significance of the Bitcoin ETF going through if they can already just go to Coinbase or something like that? Why is this going to be such a huge problem for it? And what you got to look at is these old firms that have been doing things a certain way. They don't necessarily want to completely rely on Coinbase. Well, Coinbase is probably going to be, or one of their subsidiaries or something, is probably going to be one of the authorized participants for this. They don't want to go completely through Coinbase. You have a lot of retirement funds, a lot of pension funds, a lot of annuities and stuff like that aren't going to want to be, aren't able to be that mobile. Especially when you know, when we're moving a couple $100 around and stuff like that, it's real easy, it's real simple. You multiply that and you got, you know, billions or maybe even $1 trillion you're moving around. The logistics of that gets very complicated. So if you have something, if you have a fund, whether it be an ETF, a mutual fund, whatever, what have you, already listed on an exchange, you're not necessarily going to want to take that off. But if you have a Bitcoin ETF that is spot and it's by people you trust, BlackRock and this other company that we're going to get into in a minute, then it becomes a lot easier, a lot less frictionless to move the money into it. And then the metrics of how a spot Bitcoin ETF works, with taking more supply off the exchanges, the open market is going to dictate the price, and it's going to be pretty big. So let's get into the news real quick. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before. Maybe this is a new thing to some of the people watching. This is the Edgar site. It's for the Securities and Exchange Commission. You can basically look up any filings that have to do with anything on the stock exchange. This is where you can look it up and find it here. So if we go down, this is the iShares Bitcoin Trust. This is BlackRock's Bitcoin Trust, and you can see where when it got put up and when they filed for it before. and now they're filing for it again. And I'd really suggest, if you guys have the time, come to the Edgar site, search up iShares Bitcoin Trust, and go through, and you're really going to see how the ETF is actually going to work. You know, because a lot of people hear ETFs, they don't really understand how an exchange traded fund works with the basically the minting of shares and the selling of shares to the authorized participants who take the shares and then buy the related underlying, and then that constant back and forth with the opposite actions of those two, that's what creates that price of the ETF, and it tries to stay around the NAV, which is, I can't remember the exact what it stands for, but it's basically what the fund would be worth with just the underlying, with no hype, no anything like that, with just the underlying. They try and keep it as close to that as possible. So how it's going to work is they're going to have probably 3 or 4 authorized participants who are going to take these shares and then go buy Bitcoin, give it back to them. It's going to be held by the trust, and the way they're going to try and avoid market manipulation is they're going to take a snapshot, and they go from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. They're going to go on multiple different exchanges and see what the price of Bitcoin is, and then they're going to take an aggregate of that at 4 o'clock, and that's going to be how they're quoting what their underlyings are worth. So I think you're going to see, especially in the first couple days, 4 o'clock, 3 to 4 o'clock is going to be a big push hour, just because they're going to try. Excuse me, just woke up. Is going to be a big thing for them, because they're going to want a good quoted price for the day, obviously. And you know that we've had a lot of predictions. I'm sure if you guys are looking around in the news and stuff and staying updated, that you've seen that we've had crazy predictions up to 250,000. It's all about demand. It's all about supply. We never really know what's going to happen. So I make that clear, and also say, I know I put it in the video. You know, I edit it and put it in there, pop it in there, put it in the description. This is not financial advice. Nothing you see here, nothing I say, nothing on this channel, nothing in the server, nothing is financial advice. You are responsible for the decisions you make, and none of this should be taken as financial advice. It's all you. Moving forward, we've had crazy predictions. It's all about demand. We don't know what the demand is going to be on the day. They may try and fake us out. These people are not dumb. There are gonna be people FOMOing in for sure, but make no mistake that institutional money does not want to buy at the top. And if people are saying what's going to happen at 150,000, they're pretty much going to be buying at the top. So I don't know what it's going to be. I'm not going to make any predictions. I do think there is going to be an uptick, but it could be a buy the rumor, sell the news thing. When it actually goes, we could, you know, when it gets actually approved and stuff, it's going to probably take a minute to list it. I don't know what that time frame looks like really, but I imagine SEC approval and listing is two different things. So, you know, after the approval, we could see a huge tick up, and then on the listing, we could see a big pump as soon as it lifts. But then as soon as it lifts, we could see the IV fall right out of it, and we could see a dip lower, because they're, like I said, they're not going to want to buy at a crazy high price. That's just not how institutional money does it. So moving on, this is going to be kind of a longer video too. This is the same website, and we got some other things going on here that we'll get into. The Edgar, we're looking it up, the INVESCO Galaxy Bitcoin ETF. If we come down here, they have filed multiple times. One time in 2021, here another time in 2021 again, and then most recently 2023 in October on the 13th they filed again, and now we can see we have this article by Cointelegraph that the Invesco and Galaxy. I don't know why I say Invesco and Galaxy. On here it's Invesco Galaxy. I think people are confused. People that are maybe don't have any sort of I don't know. I don't want to be any experience in the traditional like stock market sense. Invesco Galaxy this is the same thing. It's not two different things. It's one thing. If it was two different companies, I would have two different pages open, one for Invesco and one for Galaxy. It's Invesco Galaxy. Has appeared on the DTCC website, which we can see here, and we can pop over, and it's pretty easy to look this up over here. You just go look up DTCC, Exchange Traded Funds, and you're just going to go through here. The only thing is, it has an N next to it. That's what's getting me here. We have, this is Invesco Galaxy Bitcoin ETF Common Shares B, and instead of a Y, and let's go back up to here, maybe it'll tell us create redeem, it has a no underneath it. So maybe that's why we saw that big flip earlier. I'm not sure. This thing is hard to navigate, but let's go back down here. BTC. Oh, we have an N. I don't know where. I think Invesco's was an I, or BlackRock's was the IBTC thing. So let's try and find it. A lot of D names here. Should be pretty high up, IBTC. Just gotta get through the G's and the H's. Alright. The Bitcoin IBTC shares also has an N next to it. So I'm not really sure what that means. I don't know if that means it's been created yet. I don't know if that's an approval thing. I'm not really sure. Some of this stuff I'm not too familiar on because I've never really, when I was trading stocks and stuff like that, I wasn't diving into ETFs this hard. So I don't know if this means that it actually got created. I'm not sure if this means it got approved. It obviously hasn't gotten officially approved yet, or else we'd be seeing that and it'd be unavoidable. But yeah, we can pop over here so we don't have to find it. BTCO is gonna be the ticker there, the Invesco Galaxy Bitcoin ETF. See if we find anything interesting in the article. This is standard practice for DTCC to add securities to the NSCC security eligible file in preparation for the launch of a new ETF to the market. Appearing on the list is not indicative of an outcome of any outstanding regulatory or other approval processes. The application for a joint spot Bitcoin ETF managed by Global for Invesco and Crypto. Okay, so that's what it is. It's a joint spot Bitcoin ETF by Invesco, which let's just look up real quickly. Invesco AUM. Let's see if we can find that real quick. Let's see here. End of month So they have 1.5. No. Why would they put it like that? $1.5 trillion. Because I don't. Why would it be listed like that? 1,000 billion is a trillion. That's so weird. Anyways, these guys have $1.5 trillion. I don't know why it says billion here. Of assets under management. And if we look up, so let's look up as well. This is going to be big. BlackRock. AUM. So right now, they have, with the two companies that are in right now, we have 10, and I think this is lower than what it actually is. I think BlackRock's AUM is somewhere around 12 trillion. But if we just go off of what we saw right here, not looking into it any deeper, we have $10 trillion that these two companies control together. And I'm not sure what Galaxy Digital's I'm not really sure what they manage. I'm not really too familiar with that company. But INVESCO is a huge fund company, obviously with $1.5 trillion. So we're looking at, if we just take what we just looked up, we're looking at companies that manage $10 trillion, probably closer to $15 trillion. And when you have $15 trillion, it's the amount of money, the amount of power that you're wielding is ridiculous. That's why when all this news came out and people were like, oh, BlackRock's going for Bitcoin ETF, they're going to get it. Because obviously, if you guys are into politics at all, which I think you kind of have to be when you're investing, not even if you agree with it, if you disagree with it, should be whatever, you kind of have to be aware of it. All the politicians in the world are just, front people for companies. Is the reason why Nancy Pelosi makes $200,000 and is worth $200 million. The companies own these people. There's plenty of people that make $200,000, nowhere close to being worth $200 million. It's a huge gap. It's just one of those things. So when BlackRock came into the space, when you have $12 trillion and you add more companies, we're probably, the narrative of us getting multiple Bitcoin ETFs at the same time is probably going to be true. So we're, with all the companies combined together, we're probably looking at a total AUM for all companies combined of around, I'd say probably close to $20 trillion. What that does to Bitcoin's price is completely reliant on the demand for the product. But, since go back to daily, this was a rumor. This candle, it took us from 29 to 34, that was the rumor. It was nothing else other than the rumor. And now we've been floating here, consistently making higher lows, going further up, and with that listing today, it's only gotten better. It's only increased the narrative that we're going to get more. And if we have multiple, these people obviously all have their clients and stuff like that, and they're going to be pushing their clients towards this new product, and it's going to be a fight for them, because obviously whoever has the lower fees is going to get a majority of the customers. If you're charging insane fees, then you're not going to get the same amount of customers. So we're looking good. I hope you guys are doing well in this, and staying safe and stuff like that. I hope you guys, you're putting your dollars and cents towards this, looking into some other projects and stuff like that for more long-term sort of thing. But yeah, I think we're gonna be looking pretty good. Let's move on to this. This is the last thing I wanted to talk about. If you guys don't know, if you guys have never used it, this is Google Trends. It's a pretty good, I don't know what the word would be for it. It's a pretty good meter of social awareness. You can see over the past 5 years, starting, we have huge spikes in Bitcoin's popularity. and then we've had several spikes. With it almost lines up with the spikes in price. And then we have some things like the FTX trial, everything like FTX collapse, and all this stuff. But the last time we've been at this level, at a score of 14, was all the way back in November of last year, so almost a year ago. And it wasn't good things that we were up that high in either. It was FTX collapsing, Terra Luna collapsing, all this stuff like that. So we're getting more of the searches, we're getting more of the interest, and this is hopefully going to line up with the Fed lowering interest rates and going towards a more softer monetary policy. I think because obviously if you still have all these policies in place to fight inflation, which it's taking money out of people's pockets and stuff and making it more expensive to take out debt and all this stuff, things aren't as flourishing and the money isn't going around as much, so people aren't going to be able to move money around a lot because things are expensive, groceries are expensive. If people are spending all their money on groceries, they're not going to be able to buy Bitcoin. And the institutional money, especially I think after the last run, really wants retail money in the trade because basically the retail money will dump on them, will sell their Bitcoin to them, will run the price up, and then dump it off, and then they can continue accumulating and make money off of it. So they're gonna want them in there. So I think probably first quarter next year, maybe end of this year, the Fed will change its standpoint if they see the proper inflation metrics, and then along with the halving and the metrics that are already in place with the supply of Bitcoin, I think we could be seeing a real face melt a year. So I just I'm trying to get prepared for it. I'm trying to position myself accordingly for the next year. That way I can benefit from it as much as possible. Trying to get into these projects that the price is still depressed while it's still depressed, because obviously if we look over here, it hasn't really translated. I mean, Sushi Swap, that's crazy. Sushi Swap is up 17% today. That's big. But everything else, the price hasn't really gone back to being crazy, so we can still go into these projects and put in longs and still kind of be in a good spot. They've proven themselves, because the bear market will take out projects left, right, and center. They prove if the project that you like has proven itself through the bear market and is now at a point where it's seeing better adoption, the price is getting better, and they've been building through the bear market while it's quiet, it'd be a good time to look into these projects and put your pennies in place to try and benefit from what's about to happen. Because if this happens the way it does, where everyone thinks it is, this isn't going to be a time like this again. Once institutional money starts moving in here, once everything starts becoming regulated, they can start doing the accredited investor thing, where you have to be a millionaire just to have the opportunity to invest in certain things. Hopefully we keep that away, because that's the whole point of the crypto space, but we never know. Money and power corrupts absolutely. So we'll see how we're going forward, but we are looking good. Just to wrap it up, we got another listing on the DTCC. INVESCO is another huge company. Galaxy Digital, I'm not really too familiar with them, but I think we're looking pretty good moving forward. I hope you guys are positioned well. Hope you guys are well. We'll see you guys in the next one. Again, not financial advice.